In this episode, we head into the foothills of Puerto Viejo to visit the Bri Bri Indigenous Reservation for an organic cacao tour at Casa Aiko Tsüru. This family farm has been growing cacao for decades, using it for medicinal and ritual practices. On this occasion, we were fortunate to have a private tour entirely in Spanish, which included every step from harvesting the cacao to drinking the ceremonial hot cacao beverage. A once-in-a-lifetime experience that would never have happened if we didn't make a wrong turn. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button. Now, let's get into the adventure. May have arrived. I think this may be it.
Fabricio. Sí.
Fabricio. Wow. Tu pueblo es muy linda. ¿No? So we are out here in the forest for the native chocolate tour, the cacao tour. We have our guy, Fabricio, taking us through the forest. Vamos a ir al bosque para el tour de cacao. Ella es loca. Sí, sí, perro es chichi, so you say dog is chichi in the indigenous language. Exciting, we are walking through the rainforest here in the Bri Bri Reservation, looking for the great cacao tree, and we are going to learn how to process it the indigenous way. Muchos árboles de cacao. Wow. Sí. Con plátanos bananos, ¿no? Bananos es más bien para vivir por los cacaos. Llegamos! We have made it to the cacao plantation. And we are walking amidst these cacao plants right now. Wow. Cacao.
Ardilla.
Oh, small.
Ardilla. Otro árbol de cacao.
¿Cuál es diferente de este?
Oh, gracias. Yo hacia allá.
Grande. Alright, so we have harvested some cacao, and we are on our way to process it. And we're focusing on this cultural exchange, so learning a little bit about the land. I'm going to share some of these videos so that they have photos of their crop and their harvest for future use, just so that they can actually study their own land. But most importantly, this cacao is made for all kinds of other amazing things. So we can make soap out of it. It's good for insect repellent. The oil is good for numerous things, but think we're just so focused on the chocolate. So focused on the chocolate, but there's so many other antioxidants and other redeeming qualities of this fruit. Aceite de coco. It's aceite de coco.
Take a picture, baby. Puerquitos.
Hola, chita.
Kijk trouwens. Kom je.
Wow, so cute. Limón. Oh.
Pequeñito, después grande y después María. ¿A María?
Oh, okay, so look. Primero es un flor. Un otro más, por favor.
Esa es la flor.
De cacao.
Después
O de
café. Después verde. Después maduro.
Wow.
Chúpelo.
¿Sí?
Chúpelo. Ese es de
Caraco.
Estos son los pollitos. Crow.
Crow.
Pollo en Bri Bri.
En Bri Bri es crow. Crow, ¿sí? Claro. Crow.
Y allá están los gansos. En el último que tengo.
Plata. Sí, that's what I know. The plata is a duck. Sí, duck. Wow, muchos.
Sobreprotector. El pollo.
Oh, wow. Oh. Oh. Los cerditos. ¿Son afros? ¿Qué es afros? Oh, morenos, sí. Morenos. ¿Qué comen? ¿Es frutas o...?
Banano.
Bananos y todos. Vos.
¿De dónde viene?
Somos de San Diego, California.
California.
Sí.
Agarras la semilla. Sí, puedes agarrar la semilla y solamente, ¿vale? Lo puedes masticar.
Muy bueno.
Muy bueno.
Cruising, try this.
Bueno,
This is
sí.
actually vitamins.
Mm,
This one's better than the other one.
más dulce, ¿no?
The azúcar one was sour.
I was wiping my sweat off my face.
Aproximadamente 15 minutos, 20 minutos.
¿Quieres comer?
Sí.
Sí. Uy, salud. ¿15 minutos? Sí, 15 minutos. Hot queso? Sí.
For 20 minutos.
15 to 20 minutes cooking the cacao bean. Wow, ¿no es caliente?
Un poco.
Tus manos son duros, ¿no? Like, ay.
Con el calor, 20 minutos con el calor, el cacao tiene grasa. Contiene grasa y entonces va como las palomitas, los popcorns.
Sí,
similar.
palomitas, sí.
Es similar.
Oh.
Esto, entonces lo que necesitamos es esto, que es la semilla. Esto no,
Oh,
esto no,
basura.
que es la cáscara con lo que está
Sí.
el cacao. Y es no basura.
¿No?
No, puedes hacer té
Oh.
con esto, pero nosotros no hacemos té.
Mis manos son duros. Y mis pies son duros.
I can't do it.
What? No, I said I'll see if I can. The nibs de cacao. Es para granola. Acá. ¿Sí?
Oh, yummy.
It's not as bad as the other one.
These things are better.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's a lot better.
Más fresco.
Mm-hmm.
Es muy difícil con la mano, entonces usamos la piedra.
Wow.
Huele bien.
Huele rico.
Huele
Rico, sí, rico.
Huele rico.
Margarita. ¿Quieres hacer?
Oh,
¿Sí?
sí.
Margarita.
Oh, sí.
Sí.
Pero mi nombre es Marjorie, no está.
Ah, Marjorie.
Mi Margarita es más fácil.
Wow.
¿Quieres? Tú tensas mucho el
Quiero
brazo.
poner en la
Tú
tierra.
tensas mucho el brazo, muy duro. Es suave, es suave.
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 Es más duro.
Ah, sí.
Ahora ponemos aquí. No, sí. Aquí sí. Brazo duro.
Wow.
La diferencia. El brillo, por lo que se pone en pasta, es por la grasa.
Suave. Wow. Not enough sugar for you still?
No, it's just real bare. Chocolate covered strawberries.
Yeah.
Oh, muchas gracias.
You need to eat it.
Yeah.
This is a requirement. You want this to be history? You got to eat your history lesson.
Okay.
You know you're gonna be hungry if you don't.
Esto es lo que vamos a tomar.
So that's just con agua. That's it.
No,
This is the real hot chocolate. See?
ahora vamos a utilizar. ¿Cómo echa? Listo. Es caliente.
Azúcar. Sí, con eso.
Está caliente.
Voy a buscar otro.
Tú bebes no leche y azúcar, ¿sí?
Sí, sí, sí.
¿Sí?
Es más alto, la niña.
Okay, so now we're enjoying a cup of fresh cacao hot chocolate. So this is actually sin leche. This is just a little bit of water and just cacao, just fresh cacao chocolate that was made right here in Bri Bri, this amazing family farm. Say alquilar. So we could actually come back here and rent a place if we wanted to stay. So we're gonna check out these before we leave. Muy hermoso. Oh, wow. Decoraciones, ¿sí?
Tenemos visitas y hemos tenido tours, pero vienen solo por tour, no por
Oh, okay.
es esta.
Esta.
road after our indigenous chocolate tour in the Bri Bri Indigenous Reservation. We went to the Melaruk tour, and apparently it wasn't the one that we were looking for, but it was the one that we needed. It was an incredible experience. They spoke pretty much no English whatsoever, so it forced us into a very cultural exchange situation where we had to use pretty much all of the Spanish collectively that we had, and that's just exactly what you need. And sometimes you can't always predict what's going to happen, but you just have to make the most out of every situation. It was much more affordable than the other tour, and like I said, it was exactly what we needed. So we're happy we met some folks that are going to be forever friends, and we found the best chocolate producers. A completely different experience than our experience at Estukuru. So we can't really compare them. Completely different, but we had a great time. Anybody else have anything to say? What do you guys think about that tour?
That was amazing. They picked it out from their tree at the bottom, and then they showed us through the whole process of making hot chocolate. And it was the entire family who did it. We had a 9 and a 4-year-old tour guide. Awesome.
Yes, as you saw in the video, we were escorted down to the property by the 4 and 9-year-old kids, and I mean, it's a family business. You can't ask for much more than that. And what I really appreciated about it was the lack of machinery. Everything was done by hand, from the actual harvesting of the fruit to the separation of the fruit, the drying, the fermentation, and ultimately the processing. As you can see, I need a little more practice in separating the shells from the actual cacao nibs, but you know, in due time we'll be making our own cacao. So off to the next spot. Supposed to go to Bri Bri Waterfalls, but first we're gonna need to stop for a bocadillo, and we'll be back at ya. Thanks again for watching this episode of the Free Range Squad. Now, this episode is just a perfect example of what may happen when you go off the beaten path. Although we had planned to go visit another cacao tour which was just outside of Bri Bri, we ended up making our way into Volio and deep into the indigenous reservation and stumbling upon Casa Aiko Tsüru. This was an incredible experience because it forced us to use all of our collective knowledge in Spanish, and we also were able to learn a little bit more about the indigenous language that the Bri Bri use. Within this culture, it's a dying language because the majority of these tribes have gone deep into the jungle and no longer have their ritual practices and language used in the modern day schools. In addition to the cacao, the Bri Bri indigenous people use a lot of other medicinal plants from the forest, and during our tour we had an opportunity to learn a lot more about these indigenous medicines. Our commonly held belief within the Free Range Squad is that everything happens for a reason, and although we did make a wrong turn, we ended up right where we needed to be. This cultural exchange was enough to teach our family the importance of preserving these indigenous languages and practices for the future. So thanks again for coming along with us on this journey. We look forward to seeing you again. But until our next adventure, pura vida.